I think it's just like home. I'm not shocked. It's just no culture shock here. I just want to learn, just open my heart and experience. I think I can get a lot of things from here.
Queens, one of the 5 counties of New York City, has a road inside itself. Around 48% of its inhabitants were born in a foreign country. Also here, more languages are spoken than anywhere else in the world.
纽约是个很小的世界。
Nueva York es un mundo muy pequeño.
Nova York é um mini mundo.
न्यूयॉर्क एक खूबसूरत छोटी सी दुनिया है।
New York la Sara Chinjuyes.
New York City is a small road.
All these cultures, with their own inhabitants and beliefs, are established in only one county of New York City. The population of the region, which is considered the most diverse on Earth, is almost equally divided among Asian and Hispanic groups. The question often asked is, why do so many people choose to live in this borough?
The communities are more established here. For example, right here in Flushing, you have a huge Chinese community and a huge Korean community. Together, there are more Asians here than in Chinatown and Manhattan, which is mostly just Chinese people. But you have such a large community that you don't have to speak English here in Flushing if you're from Korea. You can get, there are Korean doctors and lawyers and all the stores. You can find everything you want in Korean. There are places that I can go where I can't get anything because they don't speak English very well. And the same thing in Chinese. And the same thing in the South American communities in Jackson Heights and Elmhurst, and probably in the Brazilian community in Astoria. There's stores that you can go into, maybe restaurants that you can go into and bars where they'll speak Portuguese with you.
China, that includes people from Hong Kong and Taiwan, tops the list of foreign people who lives on Queens, accounting for 11% of Queens' foreign-born population. Amy Shane has been on the United States for more than 15 years and doesn't speak English. She sells telephone cards for people who want to make calls for China or Korea. Most of her customers are Koreans or Chinese, so she never feels like really living in another country. Neither that she has to learn the local language.
The kids learn to speak English perfectly. They go to school and they learn to speak English, and the parents or the grandparents don't. And they just don't. They don't assimilate because we have so many people. And in other parts of the country where you have a lot of immigration, but certainly not as much as New York, the immigrants learn the English because they have to, because they don't have these huge supporting communities.
Greeks also exist here. In numbers, Greek may be a minority in the area. Estimates range from 3,500,000 to a perhaps hyperbolic 200,000. Restaurants are the most common in the area, but Athena, that is the second generation of his family to be born in the United States, opened his own Greek saloon.
When people ask me, what are you, I say Greek. I do. Even though I am an American citizen, I don't identify with the Americans. I identify more with the Greeks.
Most immigrants, if you ask them, where's your home? They'll say some other country. They won't say, I live in Flushing. They still, their mind is still in the home country, but they're here for economic reasons and for the future of their children.
There are Americans newspapers, Egyptians, Koreans, and Chinese. Those who do not want to experience the famous American way of life may simply move to Queens and live the life of their countries.
Queens is not only the center of diversity, it's the center of something more interesting. It's the center of hybridization, because this has been going on for like a generation and a half, since the late 60s. We've been doing this for about 40 years, welcoming immigrants. And the immigrants have met one another, and they have genetically integrated, and they've produced children from two different cultures and two different sets of genes. And I live right by a high school here, Flushing High School. It's just around the corner. And I've been living in this apartment for 35 years. And I used to see the kids come out from school, and you'd see them hanging around in different clumps, something like what we call race. You see the white kids and the black kids, and the Asian kids and the Latino kids in little clumps. And some of them were mixing, but most of them were talking to people of their own kind, as it were. Now, when they come out, not only are they much more hanging out and much more mixed, when you look at these kids, you don't know what they are anymore. They're all new forms. And, you know, one has a mother from Panama and another one has a father from Germany or whatever. They're mixing, and you see it also in the culture. You see restaurants that have I remember there was a Brazilian Nepali restaurant. It no longer exists in Woodside. People from two different cultures meet and they go into business together.
Fabio Frois, who is Brazilian, jokes that if he could sleep in Brazil and just work in the United States, would be perfect. He does not identify with the Americans, but loves the economy and the opportunities of the country.
Tem gente que mora aqui pela parte financeira da coisa, mas não gosta, odeia, não participa da cultura, não quer saber. Tem Globo, tem SBT, tem tudo aí. O cara tem 8 novelas por dia e ele assiste as 8. Porque você precisa de muito mais dinheiro do que você imagina para você conseguir recomeçar no Brasil. É difícil você recomeçar depois de uma certa idade. E o cara junta aí, sei lá, 100 mil dólares, não sei, 200 mil dólares, ele acha que está com muito dinheiro. E quando você chega lá, você descobre que não. Que para você estabelecer de novo lá uma casa, carro, família, barará, colégio das crianças, barará, aí quanto é que sobrou? Agora eu vou montar um negócio. Você monta um negócio, e agora o dinheiro para manter o negócio? Cadê?
With Guaraná, Havaianas, and coffee, the Real Market, which is a market located in Astoria, in Queens, seduces all the Brazilian people that comes to New York City. The shop has a giant wall that mixes Rio de Janeiro and New York. There, Brazilians or even Americans sit to eat something typical of the country. Fabio, which is also an old customer of Real Market, first came for exchange program, but then fell in love with New York.
Isso aqui é o mundo. Querendo ou não, tem gente que não gosta de Nova York ou não gosta dos Estados Unidos. Mas querendo ou não, Nova York é um pedacinho do mundo. Todo junto ali. Você tem todas as religiões, você tem todas as crenças. Então assim, eu me identifico muito com isso. Pelo meu fato de eu querer conhecer pessoas, de eu querer bater papo, de eu querer conhecer um pouco da cultura das outras pessoas. Já que eu não posso dar a volta ao mundo, eu faço a minha voltinha ao mundo aqui em Nova York.
We're close to each other in the subway, we're close to each other on the street. The one area of New York is contiguous to the next area. You immediately go from so-called Chinatown, which is hardly Chinese anymore, it's to the Italian village, which is hardly Italian anymore, and there's a constant mix.
Out of Queens in Manhattan, there are also other pieces of the road. Italians that are on the 17th position of the top foreign countries of New York build a little Italy. There, people really get into the culture. They make typical food and share daily with New Yorkers its vibration and happiness. In Chinatown, which is only 1 block away, you can find typical objects, foods, and the most classic Chinese faces. In the neighborhood can be found from quality products to people selling fake handbags and other luxury items. Most of his business also are not fully legalized, the reason why they are so afraid of appearing. What we discover is that the culture of New York is a style that just wants to be different.
We're all different cultures, but we're all one culture because we all see ourselves primarily as New Yorkers.
This is what Queens is all about now. It's not just diversity, it's hybridization. We're creating a new world here.